Hi friends, welcome back. Hello. We're gonna do a bit of coffee time. All this is I'm gonna talk at you for a little bit. I am only gonna do this whenever I actually have something to say. I had a very interesting conversation with a friend yesterday, and I've had so many thoughts running through my head that I just felt like bringing it to YouTube, sharing it with you, having a little bit of a more like mindful conversation about it would be cathartic for me to talk about, but it might bring you some value. So I'll get straight into it. Yesterday I sent a picture of a girl that I follow who I think is really pretty, and I love all her content. I think she's gorgeous, and I sent it to this friend of mine, and I said something to the effect of, "This girl has never looked bad." and I expressed that I think she has some really perfect body features. And I truthfully meant that in the most like complimentary, positive way, because that's how I am. No part of me was like, in complimenting her, putting me down. By saying she had this perfect feature of her body, I wasn't insinuating that I don't, like that she has it but I don't. That wasn't even a thought for me. But my friend's response was, "I have no interest in idolizing other women's bodies." And I found that really interesting, and we had a really good conversation off the back of that, because I was like, no, like it's not what I'm doing, like at all. And then she was telling me her perspective and I was telling her my perspective, and it was all a very like healthy, positive conversation. But it just really made me think about the amount of work that I have done in my life, especially in the last like 5 years, to just deconstruct my idea of what society expects from me and the way that I look. And I am on the internet. I put myself on the internet. I've been on the internet for a very long time. I receive comments about my appearance and about my body. The first vlog that I made coming back, so obviously you guys hadn't seen me since 2020, and I uploaded this vlog now 2023. Specific comments stick with you, right? Like everyone could leave amazing comments, but you get one comment that sticks with you that's bad, and that's the one that you cling on to. And it wasn't bad, but someone said, "Oh wow, like you got thick." And like, I have not taken offense to it. It's fine. I was incredibly underweight in the pandemic. The pandemic made me ill. I wasn't really eating because my lifestyle had changed and I was working from home, and some people took to eating more. I took to eating less because my routine wasn't there. Like I wasn't going out for meals with friends. I wasn't going out on meals and dates. Like Mark went traveling shortly before, and my entire life got turned upside down, right? So Archie, not now. I'm about to kick him out. What was I saying? My lifestyle completely changed, and so my body changed. I took up running. I had been going to the gym a lot before we were all in lockdown and everything, and I was the skinniest I've ever been. And I don't mean that in like a skinny legend, although honestly I felt like it at the time, but it really impacted my health. It started to really impact my health. It wasn't good at all. And I very consciously put a lot of weight back on. And then we moved to Brighton, and happy, healthy relationship. All you want to do is sit and watch things and eat snacks and like be comfy. So we did, and I gained a lot of that weight back and then some, and that's fine. This isn't really a video about weight and about like weight loss or anything like that. It's not about the size of your body or anything like that. It's more about my relationship with what society expects from me. Growing up, I wasn't the cute girl in school. I was the polar opposite of that. Nobody thought I was cute. No, I didn't think I was cute. And you know, in hindsight, I look back at the photos and I'm like, you were kind of a whack looking teenager. You know, some kids go through a phase. I went through a phase. That led me down a path of being hypersexual. I felt strongly that the only value that I had that would cause the people I was interested in to be interested in me was sexual. And I became very hypersexual. Now, I don't have a solution for you. This is not a solution-based video. I did 10 years of therapy, and it's something that I still, I'm a lot more mindful of. I'm a lot more aware of it. And I have tools to like deal with that now, mental tools, but it is still something within me, I guess. And obviously being hypersexual, the weight of expectation of how my body should look weighed really heavy on me. And I, you know, I have never lived in the body of a fat person. So I don't have that experience. I can't speak to that experience, but I can speak to the experience of a woman living in a society where goalposts are changed every decade, maybe even less than that now with social media. The ideal body type has changed dozens of times over the years, and it will continue to change. And so much of it is unattainable because it's determined by your genetics, physically the shape structure of your body, the fat distribution around your body. These are things you can't really control. You can gain weight, you can lose weight, but you can't like change the shape of your body. The shape is what it is. And the fact that so many of these like beauty standards are things we can't control. I mean, there shouldn't be a beauty standard to begin with, first and foremost. But the fact that these beauty standards these days are things like the size of your lips, you know, small waist, big hips, big eyes, eye color, eyebrows. Some of those things you can alter with makeup. Some of those things, you know, people get fillers, people get surgeries. As a person who has had cosmetic surgery, like, I don't regret my nose job. So individually to me, I don't regret it because I know the inner turmoil that I felt all my life. And I know the health complications that I had, like, from birth that needed correcting and that I did correct in this surgery. But health aside, I would be absolutely lying if I said to you that the main benefit wasn't just loving myself a little bit more, because the world had made it quite impossible for me to love my natural face. Could I have done the work to really love my nose? Maybe, but I don't think so. I think I got as close as I was ever gonna get. By the time my surgery was booked, and it was only when I knew that it was going to leave, that it was going to stop being a problem, that I was gonna have the surgery, it was only when I knew that it was gonna stop being a problem that I was able to have any kind of peace with it. I took pictures of my nose in my side profile for the first time with my best friend when I booked that surgery. And it was the first time I felt neutral. I didn't even feel good about it. I didn't feel good. There was no love for it. There was no acceptance. It was neutrality. And I see a lot of people talk about that in terms of like body image, and I think it's great. I think it's a good place to start. But the biggest work that I have done has been to dismantle mentally where my self-worth was hinging on what society had to say about how I presented myself. It makes me really sad to see people I love talking badly about themselves when it's not something that they would think is bad unless they'd been told by dozens of people, by media, all their life. I know that every single one of you behind this camera, hopefully not, but I would bet that every single one of you behind this camera has a parent, possibly their mother, who you grew up watching pick herself apart. Every time they look in the mirror, they're picking at their clothes. When they take a photo, they say, I look bad in this. Like, I always look bad in this. And now you're getting older and you're starting to look like them. And it's really hard to separate the narrative that you've heard your parents have about themselves from the narrative that you now have of yourself. Every day I look in the mirror and I think I look more and more and more like my mom. And that's such a good thing. It's such a good thing. I love looking in the mirror and seeing my mom, seeing the people that I love, seeing my family, seeing, you know, my dad's eyes, and like, I love that. And yet I see them constantly picking themselves apart. That's something that I've been thinking about a lot, is how I marry those two things together. I don't think I've ever, whenever I've seen someone pick themselves apart and think, oh, like, I don't look good in this, or like, oh, this makes me look fat, or like, oh, like, that's never a thought that I had first. Whenever I look in the mirror and I'm trying something on and I think, oh, this I look awful in this does nothing for me, I know that anyone else would look at me and that's not what they would think. They'd probably be looking at me and thinking, I really like this about you. Like, oh, I really like that. Like, they'd be thinking positively. Maybe I'm naive. Maybe that's not true. That's just how I am. But it's important for us to do this work to become happy in our own skin, or at the very least to start measuring our self-worth by our own perceptions and desires and our own things, rather than what society thinks is hot right now. Because let me tell you something, I'm a person who wants to have children, multiple children. And if I'm able to carry my own children, my body will inevitably change. There is nothing that I can do about that. I will end up with a different body by the end of it. I am ready, aware, I know that's going to happen. I'm willingly going to put myself through that. And that's not to say it's not going to be hard, because it probably will be. Because no matter how my mindset, how strong my mindset might be, I'm still gonna wake up one day and be in a world all of a sudden that doesn't approve of the way I look. That sucks. But the more I can do now to prepare myself for that and to put myself in a position where that's not going to destroy me, the better. And you might think, well, I don't want children, or I don't have children, I didn't have them, so I don't need to worry about this. Well, you're gonna age. We're all gonna age. We're all going to age. We're all going to be old grannies. Hopefully we make it to that age. We all are going to age. And by that point, society will have forgotten about us. Society will have said, well, you're past your prime. We don't care about you anymore, unless it's to sell you like anti-aging creams. We are measuring ourselves by a standard set by a capitalist society that doesn't give a fuck about us. These standards aren't actually reflective of anything except trying to sell you more things, trying to sell you more creams, trying to sell you more makeup, trying to sell you more clothes, trying to sell you weight loss packages, trying to sell you protein shakes and gym memberships. Like, it is all part of a system to get you to spend money and not actually reflective of who you are as a person and your worth as a person. I remember going to uni for advertising and having that first like click in my brain of what advertising really is and the industry that I'm gonna be working in and contributing to. Like, I had that click for the first time. I had a lecturer who sat in front of us and brought in a perfume and put it on the table and said, what is this? And we all said, a perfume. He was like, no. What is this? And someone much smarter than me put their hand up and said, that's sex. It's lust, it's wealth, it's status. And I was like, oh my God. Whenever anything is sold to us, it's not a product. that is being sold to us. It's an idea of what purchasing that product will mean for us. If I buy that dress, if I buy that handbag, if I buy that perfume, if I buy that house, if I buy that car. Cars, have you seen car ads? If I buy that phone, everything. And when you think about that, when you think about you, this tiny speck, this ant on this huge giant rock floating in space, it stops being important. There is not a part of me that wants to be in a position where I will look in the mirror and hate myself because society said I should. I did that for a long time. I hated myself because other people did. And I never want to do that again. Under any circumstance, for any reason. Not because of my weight, not because of how my body has changed, not because of me aging. Nothing. I have never felt discriminated against because of my weight. And that's a layer that I'm missing in all of this. And I would love to hear someone with that experience and with that perspective and their take on all of this. But I just wanted to share that conversation with you because I thought it was really valuable. And I can't tell you what to do or where to start. I don't know that I have a set of steps that I took to getting to where I am today. And I'm still a work in progress. All of this is a work in progress. I'm human. Of course, I have feelings, negative ones, about how I look, and I have bad days and all of that, but I'm making a conscious effort to just disentangle all of those thoughts. And honestly, maybe a good place to start is curating who you follow. That's where I started, other than therapy, I guess. I really unfollowed anyone who was making me feel bad about myself, whether it was their content that was actively like negative, or I unfollowed anyone that I felt was a negative force in my life for comparison. I have since followed a lot of those people back, but in the beginning, I had to unfollow people that I felt myself really compare myself to, because it wasn't healthy for me. And I started following people with like much more positive narratives, who spoke a lot more positively of themselves and others, who, you know, weren't constantly on the grind to do more, achieve more, lose more weight, go to the gym. Like all of that stuff was noise, and it wasn't actually helping me in any way. Unfollowing them, finding new people to follow, curating content that I was interested in, that was positive, was great. Like I turned my Instagram into an echo chamber, and I would do it again. I love it. I love it. I love going on my Instagram and knowing that it's a safe space for me to scroll. And I'm not gonna come away from it feeling worse than I did when I opened it. That has really changed the game for me. But I hope this was kind of an interesting conversation. I really want it to be like a back and forth. So if you have any thoughts, opinions, perspectives, please leave them down below in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Let's carry on the conversation. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and I will see you next time for another video. I'll come back with a coffee time when I have some more thoughts on other things. Love you very much. Bye.